Peace. How y'all feel out there? Want to have a conversation today? Oh yeah. Tonight we're going to talk about how grandma became the enemy. It's a weird conversation. I understand this is part of my family secrets series, but this is a necessary conversation. This is something that we definitely must talk about. How grandma became the enemy. Yes, it happened. It was a real thing. Now, I want you guys to understand you are not the problem here, but you do have to pick a side. No matter which side you choose, no matter what team you're on, you're not wrong, but you do have to decide. Is grandma your enemy? So, Priest King, what do you mean? What do you mean, Priest King? How did grandma become the enemy? Well, it all came to me very simply, very shortly. I like to share it with you. So let's just what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about how grandma became the enemy, and we're going to talk about some ways that we can see and notice how grandma has been treated like an enemy, and how her memories and legacies are of that of um, what you would do to the villain, right, and the bad guy. So if it don't apply to you, don't get upset. Enjoy a good conversation. But yes, you got to pick a side. You got to pick a side. And why do I say you got to pick a side? This is first off. You got to pick a side. Whose side are you on? Are you on grandma's side? Are you on their side? Who are they? Well, again, I have to remind you guys that us here in this community, we like to tell everybody that our grandma was an Indian. I have to start there because that is an interesting concept. So when we talk about our grandma being an Indian, we have to make a conscious decision to kind of use grandma as judge and jury, as truth and righteousness. You know, we take grandma at her word, right? So for some of us, we find ourselves on grandmom's side. We find ourselves championing grandmom's thought. Now, why is this a problem and how does this become a thing? Well, we have immediate families, right? We have moms and dads, and right? And they might not necessarily be interested in being American, right? Be interested in being um, connected to American culture, American Indian culture. So when you say, did grandmom say you an Indian? Remember, grandmom said it. You're reminding her of something that she already know, reminding him of something that he already know and has consciously forgot. Oh, don't be bringing that shit back up again. Nobody got time for that. Whose side are you on? We don't want to offend the people that we love in our immediate family. We don't want to rock the boat, reminding them that they had some information and they chose not to do anything about it. Like again, like I said, a lot of people we try to figure out how can we bring our family into this? How can we get our family into this information, into this community? Well, brothers and sisters, I try to remind you, this is a personal journey. You are on the battlefield. You are out here fighting the fight. Whose side are you on? Because again, grandma is the enemy. How did grandma become the enemy? Well, everything that grandma represents doesn't live in this modern world. Everything that grandma achieved is not a goal for these for a modern person, a modern girl, modern guy. I had to remember today that, a lot of us and our grandmothers, might have been, might have kept house, right? For white folk. And to us in our memory of, us, we weren't there, but from the memories that we're told from our parents, that's the most embarrassing and degrading thing that anyone could have ever did. And our grandmoms had to do it, had to suffer it, had to endure it. You know, a lot of our parents have pledged to never, you know, keep house for white folks and clean up after white folks and cook for white folks. Do half the stuff that grandma was doing, right? So grandma, her goals and what she was doing as far as her career paths, you have to look down on that, right? You want bigger ambitions. You the first person to go to college in your family, right? So keeping house, being a carpenter, being a handyman, getting paid cash, you know what I'm saying? Right? At the end of the day, that is the enemy of what we're saying. That's the enemy of the modern world, of the modern thought. And that's how grandmom survived. So you have to understand when you leaving grandmom and you leaving that, like, it's a person, right? We don't respect help anymore. I get it. But, good help is hard to find, one. And two, it's the type of person that's willing to help, right? We have those type of people in our family that were willing to help, right? To help immigrants fresh off the boat. They can't cook for themselves, can't clean their clothes and shit, right? Can't feed their kids type of shit, right? So we have some grandparents, grandpas that didn't mind helping. But to us, again, that help mentality is the enemy of a modern man, a modern woman. Grandmom's lifestyle, you know? A lot of us, our grandmoms were sexually promiscuous. Was she? I had to remind us that she had multiple kids by multiple people, right? And it's a lot of love and a lot of fun, but that don't equate to this modern day world. Like everything grandma did was the opposite of what we need to succeed in 2024. How did grandma become the enemy? Well, in order to live this new world, you got to start to look down on your old world. Y'all don't hear me. In order to appreciate the the luxury and the lifestyle that you have accumulated, you have to disregard and look down on people that don't live luxuriously and people that don't want to live luxury like grandma did, like grandpa did. Like maybe they just wanted to be happy, right? Had everything they wanted, found a way to make ends meet. But that's not what we want. We don't want to make ends meet. We want buku bunks and bankrolls. I get it. I get it. How did grandma become the enemy? Well, grandma didn't give you the right name. Grandma, when she moved from the South, all she had for you was Jesus. That's all she had for you was vacation Bible school and Sunday school and to find some kids that you could play with. They was kids at church. We start internalizing these stories. We start believing that the people in these books, we want to be the people in these books because we want to believe in these characters that they can help us, they can save us. So, who are we? Now you want to be who are we because it might be a chance I could be this nigga in the book. Poor grandma. Like we say, we don't know that we giving our children away to be taught to hate us, to be taught to feel better than us, to be taught to feel like we have nothing of value to add. I don't think that's what grandma thought when she was sending her kids to school. When she was gonna let you be the first person to graduate high school and be the first person to graduate college just to come back and you know better than her. The teacher told you when grandma is just slow. She ain't finished high school. She don't know nothing. Yeah, grandma is the enemy of the modern woman, of the working woman, right? Of the upward mobility. It's the hood. Everybody want to buy their mama a house. That's a thing. You gotta buy your mama a house. But the other part they don't, that they hate to tell you about is that when your mama don't want to move, right? Your mama don't want to move. She don't want none of that shit. She don't want no extra bills. She ain't trying to crazy spend all your money. And she know what she know the trick of the devil, right? So she like, nah, mama don't want to move, right? So now the movie sad now. Oh, she don't get it. This poor old lady, she's stuck in the mindset. She's the enemy. This poor old lady is the enemy, y'all. That's why we gotta choose sides. I don't want us to have to choose sides. I didn't understand what it was. But we have to decide, hey, do we want to respect the fact that grandma ain't equipped for this modern world? I'm gonna offend my mother and my father by bigging up my grandma, by bigging up this old way. Like we all here living in a world, in a fantasy world, right? Like I'm trying to remind us that we have to make our own decisions, you know? And I'm trying to remind us by reminding us that our parents made their own decisions. They made their decisions. That decision made grandma the enemy. You have to decide, do you want to keep bringing up grandma's name? Do you want to keep mentioning, remember when grandma said? Do you remember when did grandma even tell you this? And do you ever hear anything else about that? And did you know anybody else this? Every time you say that, you're irritating the fuck out of them. Every time you remind them of the enemy, you're getting under their skin, and you learn that. You know that. You start to figure that out quick, and you don't know what to do. Why can't I get more information about my family? Why can't I find out who would know? Why can't I find out something more? Because you asking questions about the enemy, bro. There is a sad reality that you know you're an Indian and the other niggas know too. I would hate to believe grandma just told you. No, she told her kids too. I mean, we're stuck right here, bro. We're stuck. We don't know what to do. We don't know what to do. We don't know how to pick a side. We don't know how to offend our parents who made a decision. We can't make decisions for ourselves. We can't choose our own way. But I'm trying to tell you, it's not your fault. You have to pick a side, though. You have to pick a side. Whose champion are you going to be? Are you going to be a champion for your mother, or are you going to be a champion for your grandparents? Because again, we understand that this modern world is the modern world. That old country is the old country, right? Are you willing to see? This comes down to, again, the team that you're going to ultimately choose is the selfish team, right? The modern world. That's what your mama chose. That's what your daddy chose. What my mama chose. What my daddy chose. They chose the modern world, the selfish world. It's really hard for us to accept the fact that we can't really attach, even in our own family. We can't bring up Indian. We can't bring up who was the Indian and anybody else the Indian because somebody made grandmom an enemy. Someone made grandmom's ideology. Someone made grandmom's memory the enemy. Priest King, you on. Priest King, she ain't the enemy. Well, let's talk about it. Let's see if you know some symptoms when you see it. Let's see if you can tell some people that that might have a disdain for their enemy. Again, I like to keep mentioning the hot topic of today and of yesterday, and that's when you decided to change your names, right? Oh yeah, that was the first move. That was the first move, baby. Oh yeah, my bad. I was sick. What is? So the reality, the reality. Oh man, I really wish grandma wasn't the enemy. I really wish she wasn't. I didn't understand this, man. This is the hardest thing I ever had to accept. Like, and shout out to the girl, shout out to homegirl with the no grandma's killers, and so I can understand what you saying, but I don't think people understand the way I'm saying. Not even like no funny shit.